All righty, good people. It's your girl, Dr. Brown, and the one and only.
What's happening, good people? It's the Mr. Strap, the South Side, the Outcast of Podcast itself doing the damn thing this morning. What's up?
Oh, I love it. I love it. How you doing?
I'm great, man. It's a beautiful day. The birds are chirping. The sun's out. It feels like Georgia. It's not as cold as it's been for the last 3 or 4 days, so I'm good. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I've been planting and gardening. It's like the thing that I love to do now. I'm obsessed. I've added all kinds of things. I got mulch. I got stuff in the ground. I got stuff in the pots. I got stuff out by my tree and by my front window. I went hard in the paint.
Look, that's how you know you're maturing. When you find an outdoor activity that brings you zen, that's how you know you're getting a little long in the tooth, as the old folks would say.
Oh, not long in the tooth.
Look, because I'm telling you, when I get out there on that grill, bro, I'm in seventh heaven. You can't tell me nothing. It can be hot and sweaty. If I have a beer and I'm on that grill, it's all good. And the food comes out delicious. It's like you can't beat it. As long as there's nobody squatting behind them trash cans out there.
And I was going to ask you, I'm hoping and I am praying, and I'm assuming it's been a quiet week for you.
Man, I hadn't heard a single gunshot in McDonough for about 12 days, so I'm good. Things are much nicer than they've been.
Good.
Real talk. So.
I was outside the other day. I went out kind of late because I put in some lights too outside for the nighttime, and I went out. Because I wanted to see them. I heard some fire and shots. I ran my ass inside.
As you should, man. We were talking about it. And you know what? We can go ahead and mosey right on into the lead topic today. And that's how it seems as though mass shootings in this country are really reaching a critical mass. Yes. Since our last conversation last week, where we talked about how gun violence has reached close to my home personally, we've had a mass shooting incident in Atlanta where you had a gentleman, shoot up a hospital and strangely enough, shot all women. Not sure what's up with that. And then you had a shooting in Texas where people simply asked their neighbor to stop shooting an AR-15 at 11:30 at night. He decides to kill the whole family. Right. So, and then in Texas, just yesterday, you have a gentleman shoot, 8 people at the mall? At the mall.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And yet here we are still, hopes, thoughts, and prayers. Talk to me, doggy.
I don't know. For me, and I'm from Atlanta, okay? And so I can expect a shooting at a gas station. That's on the daily multiple times. I can expect a shooting at the club. In Buckhead, fine. Happens all the time. What I didn't expect was a shooting at a medical facility in the lobby. And I think to your point that it was women, because a lot of women are in the health and medical field, right? And so, but at the same time, if you remember, we had that conversation about young Black boys in school having outbursts and being arrested, and then having young white boys that shoot their teachers and no charges, right? So I feel like in this situation, we're going to have to deal with guns in this country and mental health, and especially when it comes to Black people, because when you put those two things together, it's like they're like force multipliers, and they make the opportunity for us to go to jail and to do violent things, I feel like, even more, because they were saying that this particular shooter in Atlanta couldn't get his anti-anxiety medication. That doesn't make it right for him to shoot, but I mean, mental health thing.
But this goes back to something we've talked about before off air. And, it's unfortunate that a certain portion of this country would look at you trying to enforce mental health into, or rather trying to incorporate mental health into education as liberal, left-wing. They're trying to control your mind. They're trying to control your government nonsense.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's abundantly clear in this country, we have a problem with anger management and emotional control. And unfortunately, that's leading to mass shootings. And it's not that somebody's crazy. It's just that somebody doesn't necessarily see that, your personal problem shouldn't be taken out on society because you're having a bad day, or because you can't get a girlfriend, or because you were fired from a job that you think you deserve, whatnot. Everybody has downfalls and setbacks. But we have to on a structural and on a more fundamental level help people understand that your mental health is critical. And we need to treat this, like we treat our cars and like we treat our houses, or like we treat our pets.
Businesses, Everybody's worried. The government's worried about the businesses. The businesses worried about the businesses. What about the people that help the businesses thrive?
Exactly. And I think in the gun debate, the biggest issue is it's like law-abiding citizens are dying every time we have one of these mass shootings. Sometimes law-abiding citizens that are carrying guns. Sometimes innocent little babies that are just with their parents shopping or catching bullets. It's not fair. I respect the Second Amendment, right? I just don't think that regular folks should have access to military equipment. When you see a 19-year-old in your backyard with an AR-15, Second Amendment don't mean shit no more. You know what I'm saying?
No,
The only thing he had at that point is that there's a real problem when regular ass folks can just get a hold to any type of military style equipment for whatever reason. Right. We know children don't resolve conflict well. We know emotional men in their late tweens, early 20s do not deal with shit well.
30s and 40s, 30s and 40s.
Yes. Yes. I don't understand how anyone can't grasp that arming everyone isn't the solution to anything.
No, the answer to guns is not more guns. That's not the answer. And
but why is that complicated though? Why is that a stopping point to the argument? Like immediately right there, they want to end our conversation. Like why? It's not complicated. More guns is causing more murders, and more access to guns is causing more murders on a wider scale to more people in smaller increments of time. 1 minute, 2 minutes, you can take out 30, 45 people. Think about that.
You can't cut down on crime and then take away the need to have a background check to buy a gun at the same time. Those are two contradictory concepts that you cannot implement at the same time and then expect for people to be successful and all of a sudden become safe. Right.
Right. And it's like where we headed, because to me, when you look at the Republican Party and their whole feelings on the situation, it's almost like we're going to get to the point where they start handing out guns to citizens as their way of saying, hey, we're going to even the scales. So we're going to give away free state government issued guns for any citizen that's willing to sit for training. God forbid somebody listens to the podcast and gets this idea and takes it somewhere.
No, well, I mean,
it's almost like that's where we're headed.
No, they're damn for sure putting the guns in their kids' hands anyway. So it's nothing. If they will put a weapon in their kids' hands and pose for a Christmas picture, even after one of these mass shootings, they would damn for sure put a gun in your hand as a citizen. Why not?
And the thing is, when it comes to the whole thing with them taking pictures with their kids with guns, at the end of the day, that mass shooting is more likely to be committed by someone that looks just like your child, may even be your child. Maybe because you started putting guns in their hands when they're 3 and 4 years old. You got on some grandiose idea. This is how I handle shit. This makes me a real American.
Well, you know? But here's the thing, though. Black folks, young Black people are suffering with mental health right now. And I wonder if that will still be the case. Will it begin to be more kids that look like the one here in Atlanta? And quite honestly, he looked like an 80s Killmonger with his hair. So that aside. But I do think that, we could have more Black folks that could start being the mass killers.
Absolutely. And I think once that starts happening, or once the, unfortunately, right Black killer kills the wrong white folks at the wrong time, we won't see any real movement. And we know that's what it's going to take. Because like I always say, if Sandy Hook wasn't enough, I don't know that anything will ever be enough. That was phenomenal to watch those little white kids lose their lives like that. Obama sat in front of the whole nation and cried. That wasn't putting on for television. That was a man hurt. Like Jesus, like look, like Jesus, like we don't. This doesn't have to be life. Like this is by choice.
But that's the thing, like you said, that this doesn't have to be the reality. But the fact that not only are the lawmakers, I feel like, facilitating the ecosystem for it to happen, but I mean, honestly, we playing along with it. People are getting used to it too.
It's just wild, man. And then my thing is too, military style equipment. Again, I can respect pistols. I can respect shotguns. I can even respect bolt action rifles. We don't need anything more than that. You just don't. You just don't. At the end of the day, you don't. I always say, if someone breaks into your house, you fire 2 or 3 shots, that person is getting out of your house. People not breaking in your house to we're gonna have a life or death fucking standoff. They trying to make a quick lick. And if that lick ain't quick, they trying to get out.
Right.
That's how most people think.
Right.
It's madness, man. It's madness. We shouldn't have to. You almost feel like you're living in a hostage-like situation only because you just don't ever know at any moment it can pop off how I'm gonna get out of this situation, what I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. We shouldn't have to live like this.
That's just that simple.
Yeah, truthfully. Well, moving on to our next topic, folks. Our girl in Fulton County, Miss Fonnie Willis, has those fake electors flipping left and right. Word on the street is Fannie has officially flipped what looks like 8 electors in Donald Trump's scheme to overthrow the state of Georgia. How do you feel, darling?
Well, so this is not something that I understood immediately when I read the headline and read the articles. I really didn't understand what it meant for the fake electors to be turning stateside and to receive the immunity. The way I first, saw it was that I thought Georgia politicians, Georgia law is like, system is allowing for Trump's people to get away with this thing because it's the South and because it's Georgia, right? But then after talking talking to some lawyers who were able to kind of frame it for me, they're going to give up the goods.
Mm-hmm.
They're about to turn and give up the goods so we can get all the juicy details as to how that shit went down. And so for that, let's do it.
And the thing was, when you hear the grand scheme of things, essentially what happens is like 11 of them had the same attorney, and then one had more exposure to criminal stuff because of what she did, and that one was the lady who was down in Coffee County who let Trump's folks come into Coffee County's voters registrar office and go into right. You got the whole video of that. Yeah, when she let them in the machines and they copied all that information from those machines, and so she was part of the fake electors as well. So everybody else was like, look, she's in a whole lot deeper shit than we're in. We don't want a part of this, right? Then you find out that their attorney wasn't telling them that they had, immunity deals on the table because the attorneys still represent all 11 of them. That becomes a big issue as well. And through the filings now, that's why we find out that, hey, these 8 people actually were given their immunity offers and they have accepted. That's big problems for Donald Trump. That's big problems because at the end of the day, we know certain people ain't about that life. We know certain people are snitch as soon as they're given an opportunity. We know this.
Oh, yeah.
Because they start thinking that real shit. Jail ain't for everybody.
It's not for most. It's not for most.
Jail is not for me. I have no intentions on ever going to jail. So I could imagine if, they may have thought they were doing the right thing. A lot of people got caught up in a lot of bullshit on Facebook after the 2020 election. But, you committed fraud. You committed fraud.
You knew that when you did it. You made it feel bold. That could have been the moment where you could have gotten away with it, but you knew that you were getting away with something. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Because your whole thing, otherwise, why was it done in secret in the Capitol? Why didn't the whole world know about it? And then, now that the gig is up and y'all see that he's not in power, he didn't pardon anybody, but his punk ass friend Bannon and Roger Stone tell y'all a lot. You know what I'm saying? You got, the Proud Boys got convicted this week.
Sure
the
did.
Old peoples are looking at like 20 years. You got somebody that did 14 years for hidden cops. It's like that shit is getting real for those folks.
These are real charges, like real consequences. Like, no, you can't do what you want in the name of whatever it is, the thing that that you're doing. No, you can't.
Because look, all that where we go one, we go all shit ended when the judge put that hammer down on that conviction and your ass is going that cell. Because guess what? You're going there all by your goddamn self.
Mm-hmm.
And the motherfucker that could have got all y'all off left. He left y'all high and dry. And he's hoping and praying he can drag this shit out long enough and maybe he might steal another election. That shit's not happening.
Wait, and he's still taking money from people to feed his campaign that are all these donations that are supposed to be going to other things. He's using it for his campaign and they are willingly coughing over the dollars.
I don't know if you saw the story, but they've been following that campaign money and they said it looks like they've set up shell companies where Donald Trump and all his family was getting paid out to shell companies where they're funding all that politician money.
We knew that before. That is literally how Donald Trump operates. This is
the criminal president was a criminal. News at 10.
New special. Come on, guys. We knew this. We've known this for years, and it's like I don't know. I don't know why it has to be so obvious. I don't know why it has to be replicated so many times in different parts of the country. I don't know why people still can't get with what actually happened.
Because the big bad guy has always got to be the people that look like you and I with darker complected skin. It can't be that funny ass orange haired fellow, orange skin, swoosh haired fellow that tells good jokes and dances real funny on stage and tells it like it is. That can't be the guy lying to me and not telling me the truth. There's got to be those darker skinned people who've always had a boot to their neck, squishing on their neck as hard as hell, trying to keep them down. They're the problem. It created a whole system to keep us at a certain point in life, but we're the problem. We the ones you need to be scared of.
Right. Keep telling that lie.
Yeah. I mean, that man built like you said, continues to build a whole empire on their ignorance. Nonsense. Speaking of empires, we had a moment the world hasn't seen in 70 some odd years. We got the coronation of, as my wife said, the Crusty King, and we will call it the Crusty King's costly coronation, which at last count was estimated at a whopping $125 million.
Dollars or pounds? Well, not that it matters.
Dollars. 52, it was 50 to 100 pounds, which comes out to 125 million. My goodness. Talk to me, dark or brown.
So, I feel one thing I've learned as I have grown and matured is that a lot of things can be true at the same time. And so for me, fuck the monarchy. The colonizers, they went around the world fucking up people's lives for multiple generations and absorbing wealth. I was looking at the decadence in the church and looking at all that gold, and I'm thinking, where did that gold come from? Talking about This is Queen Elizabeth's crowns, and she's got brooches, she's got all these stones. Where they get those from, right? So yes, fuck the colonizers. Now, at the same time, it was really cool to see this culture. And it's been happening this like 1,000 years, and just to literally watch something that happens every time this happens was really as a human being, as someone who shares the global history with the rest of the human beings on this planet. It's really cool to watch 1,000-year-old ceremony that hasn't
the spectacle for the sake of spectacle, and that you can 100% say that was spectacle. That was spectacle beyond measure right there. That was ridiculous. That was all ego right there. But I think that. Yeah, but it kind of reinforces where we're at as a society, where like the world looks at it and turns its nose up and like, yeah, y'all full of shit. Y'all could, that money was better spent somewhere else. I promise you that. It reminded me so much of when Trump wanted to have his grand military parade down the streets of DC with the jets and the tanks, and he wanted his Kim Jong-un style parade that explained to his dumb ass that's going to do multiple $1 million of damage to the streets of damn DC. Not just that, coordinating military to put all those vehicles and soldiers in one place at one time is going to cost an extraordinary amount of money. For your fucking ego, hell no.
Hell no.
That I mean, I don't know, man. Certain people's feelings toward kings is way different from mine, man. Way different. I have no plans on living under any kings. Even if I did, like the golden chariot.
Well, I mean, lucky for us, we can watch it from afar, from across the pond, right? I mean, they said that that chariot was 2 tons and took like 8 horses to carry. Like, that's some decadent ass shit. And if you got it, shit, don't look. Black folks be out here flaunting they shit. If they got it, flaunt. Look, people flex.
That was the rich white person version of a rap video, right? That was a billionaires rap video right there. Y'all better understand what billionaire is. I'm stunning in $1 trillion damn coach wagon.
Like, I love that.
Just because I can. Like, that's called stunting right there. Y'all stunting like my daddy, King Charles, was stunting like his daddy on that one for sure.
Real talk. Real talk. And I ain't even mad at him.
I will say that I think that it's been interesting. Like I said, the world's reaction has been, like I said, both. It's one of spectacle and people just enjoying the spectacle and understanding that it is a spectacle. And then the flip side of that is the people that right. But then the funny part too are the rebels that are like, I don't know if you saw like the soccer stadium video where it's like the whole soccer stadium is like, fuck your coronation.
No, I didn't see that.
Man. So you got both sides of the coin, but it's great to see because I mean people are free to speak their minds, It feels like we're going into a very fascist time where we may not be able to have as much freedom of speech. So it's good to see people fighting back. Like, yeah, shut this shit down. It's motion.
Yeah.
So, Doc, you got anything for the people before we roll up out of here?
No, man. I'll just say the number of fucks that I give about basketball. I know some people felt about the coronation. I really don't care about basketball, y'all. I want people to really understand and truly understand the depth of my number of fucks that I give. Because there's a couple of reasons why, and I'll leave you with this. They don't even make basketball players and football players like they used to. They're not even cute anymore. So, like, what's the point? They're all busted looking. They ugly. They skinny. And basketball is not exciting. So those are the thoughts that I would like to leave with you today.
Okay, I mean, it's not about what they look like; it's about how they hoop, man. As long as they putting that ball in the bucket, that's all that matters.
No one cares. We want what they look like.
I wish music would get back to a point where it wasn't exactly what you look like, but how you sounded, which dictated whether or not you was a star. Because boy, music needs some real heroes right now. There's some terrible singers out there.
Singers specifically.
Yep. Rappers too, but that's another conversation for another time.
I'm gonna say that for another episode.
Yeah, that's the aim. I'm the old man waving my fist at the clouds on the rapper conversation. That's well, Doc, I guess we get out here on that, man. Hey, if you made it this far, please like and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow this thing. We're gonna do it right, y'all. But otherwise, everybody take it easy, y'all. Peace.
All right, bye.